Hello, and in this video I'm building a double roundabout with a pedestrian overpass. Now first, when I started building this, I was just going to make a double roundabout sort of junction. Like, I imagine this is one of the major junctions in the city where many roads meet, and like maybe this double roundabout design was designed to cope with the large amount of traffic. This is copied from well, I say copied, but it's more inspiration from an American roundabout like interchange, where they have this roundabout on one side and just a single roundabout on the other. I guess in real life it couldn't cope with the amount of traffic, the single roundabouts. They had to do a sort of double sort of design, but I liked it enough to sort of include it and make it more of a city centre sort of junction, I suppose. And as I'm building, I decide that it needs a pedestrian overpass, because this traffic would be extremely hard to cross. And since I'm into the idea of pedestrian friendly and allowing pedestrians easy access to places, I thought a pedestrian overpass would be quite nice, and I have wanted to do a pedestrian overpass for quite a while. And it fit very nicely within the area, because I've also used the curbs to make a more raised platform so that pedestrian overpass could cross the road. Now, as you saw there, I was detailing the roundabout. I cut a lot of it because it didn't really fit. It was just detailing, and it's just lines. You've seen lines before, there's no point. So we've skipped ahead to sort of designing the centre of the roundabout. Now, I wasn't 100% sure what to do with this, because I just didn't know. The first design I did was okay, but it was more of a highway off-ramp or motorway off-ramp, that sort of thing. It looked very desert themed for some reason, and this is not in a desert at all. So I changed that, and I go with a more modern looking sort of raised up, I guess sort of plaza looking thing, but it's not really a plaza because it's just raised up, and it's like a big planter to contain all the plants that are planted in the centre. Now, I use these curves in a lot of places to sort of define the edges of the roads and to eventually meet up and maybe be a planter in the end, but some of them don't turn into it, they just keep the edges. So this is the modern looking centre of the roundabout. Well, gone with a lot of half circle design, some raised parts that allow that would in real life allow dirt to be piled in there and to have big trees, big plants planted in them. Not too big to block the sight lines of the roundabout, but big enough to just be a nice looking centerpiece. It would be quite hard to block the sight lines of this roundabout because it is such a large roundabout, and the sight lines are sometimes they're weird because of the way this roundabout is designed, with the off-ramp things and the splitter lanes, and it could be a bit confusing, but it works alright. There's no real downside to this interchange. There is one, well, I say there's no downside, but there is a slight problem with one of the entrances to the roundabout, that it causes traffic to slow down, even though I have disabled traffic can enter a blocked junction. Even though I've disabled that, it still have issues with some of the entrances because they're just too close together, and it just doesn't allow. The game doesn't like it. It just really doesn't like it. And also, you get the standards thing with city skylines and roundabouts where they don't give way correctly. Even with the new, well, not new, even with the traffic president yields and stuff. It just doesn't work. Traffic just does what it wants. Sometimes it's nice and it plays along, but other times no. You just gotta really pretend or imagine that they're just all really bad drivers. Either or, that's what I do. Now, some of you may not like this interchange because of its shape. Like it's not very organised. It's a lot of different shapes and nothing really matches. I guess that's why I like it the most. Well, I don't like it the most, but I like it a lot because of the way the interchange... I'm saying interchange. The way the junction just looks, and it feels like it was made to fit that certain area because of the size and the constraints within the build. That's what I imagine anyway. Even though this is City Skylines and I can make as much space as I want, I'd like to work in constraints of an area, just filling in spaces that needs filling in, just with the best way possible for that sort of small area. Like, given a massive area, you can make some great things, but given a small area, you can make some amazing things that fit in nicely within that area. So, as you can see, I am detailing the center of the roundabout, adding bushes and trees and stuff. The only problem is with the raised parts, you can't add low-lying shrubbery, so you got to add taller trees so that the stem can stick in to the area and the top of the tree just pokes out, which is one problem with these raised planter things. It can get a bit annoying because you want to use a certain type of foliage and it just doesn't work because it's not high enough. But there's always workarounds, like there's smaller trees and smaller bushes that do stick through, but are not necessarily too tall to interfere with sight lines of the traffic. So now we get on to the raised pedestrian overpass. So this is the slope up that starts as a nice gradual slope for people on either bikes or people who need wheelchair access. There are a couple staircases that I build, but the only staircases it connects to a building, so I imagine in the building they would have wheelchair access for people on wheelchairs. I'm trying to think of everything because real city planners will have wheelchair access to most things. Most modern designs and things will have wheelchair access, or just access to people like the elderly who can't climb a massive amount of stairs. So you've seen this 100 times, me stacking up the curb assets to create a nice like raised area that I can then stick plants into. So we'll skip ahead, and in this part I have sort of moulded the curbs around the path, and I like the way it looks. It looks very like it was made to be that way. There are parts which clip wrongly and stuff, and it's just, you probably could get it fairly close to working, but it just, like, it already takes too long to build some of this stuff, so this is more, I'm more than happy with what this is here, of how it all clips through in places and just doesn't work in some, but it works quite nice in the end, and you get this sort of nice raised design. So I decide, out of stupidity, to raise the terrain, and when I raised the terrain, the curb assets followed it, so that is why some of the terrain is all messed up, and it is a bit, and I'm a bit annoyed at that because it was quite nice, and in some of the cinematics you can see some of it's very lazily done, because afterwards I just replaced it, but quite lazily, because after I've messed it up with raising the terrain, thinking, oh, this will look nice if I raise it. It didn't. So just don't do that. Don't raise the terrain. It messes up everything. And here I use the I believe they're like highway sound barriers, but they look nice enough to go on here as like a protective barrier to stop people falling off the pedestrian overpass. I had great difficulty placing these when I was looking down at them, because they curve at the top. It causes a real illusion, and it's very annoying. And I don't really like working with them with Move It. I like them when they place nicely in a line, just on their own, perfectly. But when you move them with Move It and you're looking at them at different angles, it's very hard to place them correctly. So I go up onto the top here, this like park area, and decide to make a very modern park. There's many art exhibits and some modern benches, and these are from creative decks. Well, they're used in his series, and they're created by Dishes or Dichans, something like that. And all these stuff are great. These are big loop things are from the series as well. And he's got some highway exits and like signs that you go on the road. They're amazing as well. They look really good. They're really well done, and they fit in quite nicely with this area, sort of a modern area. So here I just go and just do a little protected zebra crossing, which has an island in the center. Islands are preferable when you build a zebra crossing, or just a crossing in general, because they allow like safe passage, because a person can make it across one side of the road without having to worry about the other, and they can stop in the middle and check again to check the traffic is clear and continue. So I try and add islands as much as I can, but sometimes it's just not possible because of either the road's too small or the way the game works. It just doesn't allow it to happen. So we have skipped ahead massively, as you saw there, and I've already placed a lot of the buildings down just to get a general feel of the area. And in this part it was sort of empty, so as I was watching Skib's livestream again as I was building this, which I generally do when he's live streaming, I play City Skylines. He was building a plaza for people to sit down and just enjoy the area, I suppose, in his city. And I basically copied him very closely to what he did in this area. This is a nice plaza with some benches and the sort of staggered not staggered curve, but staggered I suppose I think of them as squares, but they're triangles, they're staggered triangles because of the curve. It just adds like area for you to place plants and stuff to block the road, the noise pollution and the pollution in general from the people sitting enjoying a lunch or something on a break. So here I am designing the other roundabout, and we're going to skip ahead to when I finish it because it is very similar to the other build. All I do is I do one raised planter instead of two and finish it up with some foliage, plants and stuff. And I do a similar thing with the central reservation here by stacking the curbs up. And again, we are probably going to skip ahead to when it is done. And then I fill it in with foliage, and it looks quite nice. It fits the area, it stops people driving on there. So as you can see, here are the Creative Dex's highway markings for his series, but I use them here because, I mean, why not? They look amazing, they look great, they are so nice. Wish we had more of this sort of thing, like highway markings painted on the road. I really wish there was a Route 66 decal, like a big decal that can go on the road for my Route 66 series, which is coming out soon. I hope you saw the trailer that I made. It will be out this month. Now, so that's this month. I don't know when this month. I have had some technical difficulties with the map and just the collection in general, but it will definitely 100% be out this month because I have some stuff pre-recorded that I could release as its own episode. But I want to get the map sorted out before I release stuff, so this month. That's within the next, what, 10 days? Probably a bit longer than 10 days. Probably, let's go with 15 days. It will be released. Sometime then. So as I finish up detailing this small plaza, I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you next time.